Hello, everyone. Welcome to Retinband the podcast. I'm Ender. This is your host. This podcast will be in English today, and my guest is Lucian Ghinda. Hello, mate.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Yes, so I'm Lucian. I'm currently living in Romania. I'm from Romania. I work as a senior Ruby developer for a company in UK, and I'm passionate about Ruby, and I'm trying to how to say to put something back in the community, to offer something back in the community in multiple ways with a limited time.
Yes, it's very good introduction, by the way, because you are very passionate to sharing your information in this podcast, and I would like to say thank you. To you being here because I really like your newsletters called ShortRuby, and I met with you because of this letter, and you I wrote you on LinkedIn or Gmail. I can't remember now. So you really fast for the response, and you said, "Yeah, we can do a podcast and we can talk about this kind of things." But first, I want to ask a question. You said I live in Romania, and we are very close because I live in Turkey. And
Yes.
how is the industry about Ruby on Rails in Romania?
Yeah, so first let me say also thank you for inviting me here and for believing that I have something interesting to say. I don't know, let's see. um, so about how is the Ruby on Rails? I mean it's small. It's a I think it's a small community compared to I don't know maybe some other countries. I don't have a split per country. I don't think we are too many here. I know some of them that some of the people that are doing Ruby currently in Romania, but we with some friends that we organized the Friendly RB conference last year, and we keep doing it this year. We also started a project called Ruby Romania, and we started doing some meetups this year, from last year to this year, not only in Bucharest, which is the capital city, but also we are going into some other cities where there are smaller Ruby communities, and we in a way I don't want to say this as a big objective or vision, but we want to first to know each other where we are, but also my secret hope, but now public. Okay, my hope is that doing this kind of interactions, more people would be inspired, and we have at least I know at least one person that was inspired after a meetup and started to to look into Ruby. We don't
Yeah,
have a presentation specifically about this at the meetup, right? But I hope people would get inspired if we do more things.
exactly. It's the same thing for us. Me and my friends, we organizing something on Ruby in Ruby Turkey. Is Ruby Turkey is
Yeah,
the same thing.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah, yeah,
you
yes,
said
yes.
Ruby Romania, but to be honest, I never thought there is something about Ruby on Rails in Romania because last year I saw your meetups called Friendly RB, and this year you will do same thing again, and I heard very good things about it. So I just want to ask you, how did it start? Because how was the idea? Because I can imagine doing a big conference and especially international conference should be hard, right?
Yeah, so we a couple of years ago we met I met some good friends now online in a Discord group, and we had together the passion about Ruby, and we were on a channel about Ruby, and we started discussing there, and I have to say that these friends they come up with the idea, um like I would say the name Adrian, Jacob, Alex, and Stefan. They come up with the idea that maybe we should organize a conference about Ruby in Romania. And it seems like you're saying it. Okay, maybe we should do a conference in Romania. Maybe not a big one, like a more regional one, right? But within hoping to have international speakers and participants. Um, it seems maybe somehow easy, but also somehow how to say, never doing it, you don't know what you are actually getting
Yeah,
into, right? Like
exactly.
believing. And it
Yeah,
was, I think it was a lot of hard work, but um like everybody did a lot,
nice.
and we made it. I have to say that I did less than my colleagues, so the success of this and everything that happened, it's mostly due to their work. um but yeah, it was great. It was great last year, and I'm truly looking forward to it this year. It's we name it friendly because we are looking for a friendly conference. Like we in a mix of speech, like of presentations, somehow
Hmm.
maybe a good mix about technical but also around technical. And it was in a very nice location that we hope to have it also this year. And yeah, already early bird tickets are done, are sold. But this will be in September, yes.
So, have you been to any Ruby conferences in Europe or in the US before?
I In US I was not, but in Europe I was, yes.
Which one?
Um, I was, for example, last year I was at the Helvetic Ruby. Um,
Helvetic in
yeah,
Switzerland here. Okay.
yes, and I
Yeah,
like that too. I think we are kind of um, in some way similar. In we know some of the organizers there. They are also friendly.
yeah, nice. And as a Romanian, do you don't need a visa to travel in the Schengen zone, right?
No, no,
In the
but
Europe.
we are
Yeah.
not in Schengen, but we don't need a visa.
Great, because I think as a Turkish citizen, I think I need a visa to travel to Romania because I guess I couldn't join the Friend Ruby last year. I think
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just missed a conference that I was really looking forward to, the Sin City Ruby, which is happening in Las Vegas, organized by Jason from Code with
Yeah.
Jason. And I was supposed to also do a presentation there, and I missed it because I could not apply very early for the visa due to my ID expiring, and I have to renew my
Ah,
ID. But I applied with it, and I got the interview for it in October. So this is in
oh,
March, the
wow.
conference, right? I wrote back trying to make it sooner, but no success. So it's just I totally
Oh,
understand that. So
shame.
it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we can say hi to Jason from here because Jason was my guest in this
Ah,
podcast. I
yes,
think
yes, he's doing an
he
amazing work.
Yeah, he was the first English speaker in my podcast, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so I just want to just the last question about the RV. It will be in September, right?
Yes,
In this year.
18, 19 September. It's a 2 days conference, single track,
Hmm.
happening in Bucharest.
Yeah,
If I can
Bucharest.
say, yeah, friendlyrb.com. Yeah,
Yeah, great, great.
that's
Yeah,
the
we
info.
can.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. We can do your advancement here because it's a. I think because of you, many Ruby on Rails developer or Ruby developer are listening us now, and you can probably they already know the front Ruby, but we can say again is
Yeah,
that
yeah. Okay. Yes,
is that
yes.
so? And do you have any plan to visit Eurocode in this year?
So for me personally, Uruko, I think it's just the week before, uh,
Oh yeah,
before our
yeah.
conference, right?
Yeah.
But for me, to like last year, it was similar with Uruko and also Ruby Rails World. I think one
Yeah.
was before and one after. The thing for me is that I don't live in Bucharest where our friendly RB conference is, and I don't like to
Mm.
be too much time far away from my family. So I will take
Uh,
time to go to. I will need a couple of days before the conference to go there and help with organizing,
yeah.
right? So I will probably. I mean, I have to very carefully consider also leaving the house. Like it's not that I cannot, but it's like I don't want to with 1 week before and be that much.
Yeah.
So
I see.
that's one thing. I'm trying to limit a bit these things. um so that will be, but I applied to before summer to a couple of conferences as a speaker. I'm trying to present some stuff that I think I should put
Yeah,
out there
good.
in the world. I have some ideas that I want to I
Ye-
want to put.
I'm,
Um,
I'm sure you have lots of ideas to present. I think
Sorry.
I'm sure you have lots of ideas to
Yeah,
tell the people and
I have some things that I think they should be there. Let's say, and depending on this, I might participate to the other to maybe to Ruby Day, Brighton Ruby, Helvetic Ruby again. I try to submit
Mhm.
to them.
Ruby Day means you in Italy.
It's in Italy, yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm still thinking about the Uruco. I mean,
yeah. Cool.
I'm thinking the CFP is still open, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just go there for 1 2 days, something like this. Yes, I'm not saying
Yeah,
no.
because
I'm just saying,
I really, yeah, I can say because you are doing lots of things in parallel, and I can't imagine how you prepare a CSP to present something on the conference. I think
well,
you have.
I was lucky that Daniel, a colleague, and Georgi, another colleague, that Daniel spoke to a lot of conferences, and he helped
Mhm.
me prepare a bit the
Ah,
CFPs and explain a bit what the
cool.
organizers are looking for and so on. And the other friend Georgi helped me, the other colleague, and also the colleagues from Friendly gave me feedback on the actual content, and some other people. I asked a lot of people about feedback uh, on the actual content.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Let's see. Finger crossed.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
my first time applying with these two conferences, so I don't. I mean, I will be enthusiastic if I will be chosen, but if not, then still that's okay. I still consider, even if not, to go to some other conferences this year.
Hmm.
At least in the ones that are around in Europe or around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my plan.
Cool. Okay, let's jump to your career because I want
Yeah,
to learn about how did you met with Ruby on Rails, because I know you have been in this industry for 20 years, right? Because I read something about your blog post.
yeah. I'm not sure 20, but here is what happened. So I was studying computer science
Mhm.
in the university in Bucharest, and during the faculty I discovered PHP. I don't know. It was maybe PHP 3, or I don't know, something, or
Yeah,
maybe
sorry.
less than 3. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupt. What is your opinion about PHP? What is your
So before I say my opinion, I want to say something that I in general don't. I'm trying to look at things in a way that I see their advantage. So for example, I did not work with PHP in over 15 years, maybe, or more. I still think I watch some of the evolution. I still think it probably is a valuable choice. But back then, for me, PHP was truly a breakthrough in a way, because before I was trying to do some things with, even before in high school, and I don't know, early, when I get contact with the internet, I was trying to do some kind of my school internet page and so on with the HTML, and the marquee and moving things that, like, it was flashy and so on. But PHP was in a way the one where I could, and I think before PHP it was, I don't know, Java applets, or there are some things that you can do some kind of what we now call
yeah,
web apps,
Java
but doing
server faces
or
or
something, yeah,
Mhm.
doing some kind of what you could do on the desktop, having it a bit in a web page, right? More business logic in a way, right? Interactive in a way with the end user. But PHP was truly, for me, it was okay. The web, it can be good. Before that, I was working with um, Borland Delphi,
Mhm.
doing some kind of Windows. But I was in faculty, so I was doing a lot of stuff, right? But
Yeah.
Borland, I was working a bit with Borland Delphi. But PHP was okay. You can do easily interactive things. Of course, it was the period with SQL injection and a lot of stuff happening, right? But
Probably.
still, but still a lot of this. And then during the faculty I did some internships to a company where I got hired immediately afterwards, and there I worked a bit with PHP and JavaScript, and it was the JavaScript of Scriptaculos and Prototype JS, and
Yeah.
maybe Mojo, or I don't remember the name of the other library. These libraries that were, I think, precursor of jQuery. I think maybe
Probably.
I get the history wrong, but something like very early. And I did something with PHP and JavaScript, doing some things there, and then I got into Python, doing some backend work
Mm.
because I was working for a company from US that was a hosting company, and they were not trying, but actually doing automatically deploying server configuration. You're buying web hosting, and they were configuring your hosting there, or email, and so on. And that was a framework made in Python. And then a colleague, like, there was a team and a colleague of ours in that team that, and now I say from outside, but I hope I remember correctly. But anyhow, the project was to create a kind of order form. So like now we see it everywhere, but back then the idea was that a customer should be able to put a domain, choose a hosting, write the email that they want, and all
Yeah.
this should be configured in a kind of order form, and then packed somehow to this Python backend that was supposed to do everything, and then get a
Yeah.
response, right? And he did this with Ruby on Rails, like a demo or a prototype of this. Very nice. Very. I remember even now that he
What was
made
the
it like,
version? Do you
I
do
think
you
it was
remember?
it was pre Rails 2, so maybe Rails
Wow.
1.9, and Ruby it
Oh.
was. I think it was Ruby 1.8. We
Yeah. Cool.
this I remember the Ruby version, maybe 1.87. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
1.8
All right.
Ruby. And I remember that he did a very nice animation where you're configuring all of this and you press add to cart, and they get out of the page and fly to the shopping cart. In a very nice thing. But anyhow, that was quickly, and then this project, this prototype, I think it was accepted. I was not in the team. I'm just telling you what was inside, and then multiple of us needed to be trained to work on that project because they wanted this interface for all the hosting services they were offering, like
Mm-hmm.
all of them,
Mm-hmm.
from VPS to whatever, managed servers and so on. And I got retrained by these two colleagues that they already knew Ruby and Ruby on Rails. I got trained to work on that, and
Mm.
this is the like one of the things that I remember about Ruby, and that I would like. One of my things currently is I'm trying slowly to how to say, to talk more about some new changes in the Ruby syntax that we got. More of them since Ruby 2.7. There
Mm-hmm.
are different things. They are debatable. I mean, the community, it's a bit between them. But my idea is that what I remember from back then was that Ruby was weird. I'm not saying
Mm.
bad weird, but I was coding in faculty
Is
in
it
C and Java and Delphi and
magical?
PHP.
Maybe we
Yes,
can say
maybe
magical.
not magical. I will not
Ah,
say
okay.
magical, it was about Rails. But Ruby was weird in the sense that I was coming with a background in faculty. I did Java and C, and then on my own Borland, Delphi, and PHP, and then Python and this company. But all of them are a bit like, maybe not except Borland Delphi, which is Pascal. The others are like C-like syntax, right? They are considered a bit
Yeah.
C-like syntax, right? And then comes Ruby, no parentheses, blocks, like very strange way in that period for me, for my way of thinking about programming, and
Yeah.
very English like, right? So like
Yeah.
very close to pseudocode. And I found that fascinating, and I fell in love with it somehow. And I did not drop it until now. That's the story. Yeah.
So so it's a it was a good story, but yeah, Ruby is a good language, especially reading and writing is very easy. The
Yeah.
learning curve is very low. But the problem is because I ask how is the community in Romania, because
Mhm.
did you think about the how can I got a job if I if I write Ruby? Did you consider about finding a job?
When I learned it back
Yeah, it's
then,
the
yeah.
first. Yeah.
So back then I I'm not sure it was a big choice. It was just like the company was saying, okay, you will go on this new project. I was a junior, like fresh out of faculty. I don't think I
Mm,
had a choice about what I learned, right? But I liked
yeah.
it because I could have had the mindset that I don't like it, and then if you learn something that you don't like, it's a suffering, right? It's like
Mm,
it's not a good experience. Now I agree that okay, maybe compared with other uh, languages or something, maybe the job market is not that big. For sure, inside Romania is not a big job market. If you want to work as a Ruby developer for a local Ruby company, maybe it's not
yeah.
that big, right? There are few,
Yeah.
but not
Not
not that
that
big.
big.
I think there are bigger communities more toward the west of Europe, or I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe Poland has also big community. I think of Ruby
Yeah.
developers. So not only west, but other countries, right? Um, but yeah, I did not choose it. Maybe Ruby chose me, right? It's like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, but nowadays you're doing lots of things about Ruby to, especially the spreading the spirit of Ruby, because I really believe this kind of things. And before seeing your newsletter called Short Ruby, yeah, I just follow the Ruby Weekly. Yeah, it's still good, by the
That's a
way.
great newsletter. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Peter is
but
doing a great curation there. Yes.
yeah, exactly. And the Peter is doing another languages newsletter, JavaScript and Postgres. I
Ah,
think
yes,
I
I think
really
I'm
trust
yeah, yeah, yes,
yeah.
yes. I follow them
But
too.
I really I really worry about your motivation doing the short Ruby because it's lots of work. So how can you do this thing?
Yeah, maybe let's start with the why and then about the how a
Yeah.
bit, right? So the thing is that I was a bit, I think until 2019 or so, I was very silent. Like I was more a consumer of the goods of the community, right? I mean, I think I did not posted almost anything online. I started many times a technical blog and never actually publishing something on it, right? Doing Jekyll themes
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
scratch every year,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Uh,
It's
yes. So
developers things,
so
yeah.
yeah yeah or sometimes I don't know starting to write my own gem to generate something and so on. But it was more did not contribute. I don't think I even contributed maybe a patch to some other gem. So I was a consumer of that and very grateful for the great things that bring to my life, right? But I don't know. I started in the last years thinking, okay, how can I contribute back to the community? Because I like the community and I want to put my effort into it also, right? So if I want this community to grow, I want to do something about it. I did not know exactly what to do, and parallel with this, what I was doing myself with the same mindset that I was starting to be more active on Twitter and LinkedIn and some other places, Reddit.
Mhm.
And because I don't have that much time to, I mean, what happened is the following. I noticed that people are sharing nice things, technical things on this social media stuff, right?
Yeah.
but but also they are ephemeral. Like you see something, you read it a bit, you scroll down, don't think too much about it. And what I was doing, actually I was bookmarking them in a very simple bookmark, and then during the weekend, I'm an early morning person, wake up mostly around 5. I
Wow.
put some coffee and I read things, social media posts, right, from the week.
Mhm.
But I now during the weekend I could open something and think about, okay, someone shared the code sample, what's that about, is it working, what's happening, right? So have more time to think,
Mhm.
right? So and in the mean in the same period, I got together with the friends like Adrian from Avo and Jacob and Alex and Stefan, um and we're talking. I was saying, okay, I want to do something, what to do, and I was sharing the idea, maybe I will do a newsletter. I'm not sure if anybody will read it, but maybe out of everything that I read, I take some of these things. Mostly I was fascinated by code samples that people were sharing online, because I'm curious to see not only reading the open source, but I'm curious also what is happening in real, like in other projects that are more private. You don't see them, but people are sharing solutions out of them in another form, right? So I was thinking, okay, how maybe I will do a newsletter. I'm not sure if anybody will read it, but I will just put these things there. And then Jakob asked me, okay, how many subscribers should it be for you after a couple of issues or editions to keep going? I said, I don't know, 10 or 20 or something like this. But it unexpectedly, a lot of people subscribe. I was thinking, like, really, do these people want to read what like not my own content, right? But to see the curation, let's say, that I'm doing. Yeah, so this is one side. Another side, an important thing for me about this newsletter is that I think that it's important for me to put in center the creators. So if you go, like, if you see in my newsletter, there is a link to the name of the person that shares something, and then the link to what they shared. So, like, there are many chances for every reader to go and follow, or like, someone put something for free there, and
Mhm.
I want them to be in center stage.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You,
that's my
you,
thing.
yeah, you're acting like a creator because, as you said, there are lots of things doing in social media, and as a developer, we share lots of things in Reddit and Hacker
Yeah.
News, LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social medias, Mastodon or something like this. Someone collecting these things, and sometimes, yeah, I can't say all things, all posts are great. Sorry, but
Yeah, yeah, no, no,
I
it's true. Um,
yeah, yeah. We are trusting your choices, and you select some of them, and you put your newsletter, and it's which is very good because I tried it, by the way, to be honest, because I failed, and I failed. I know how the maintenance and a newsletter is hard or not. It's so hard. I can imagine. I really worry about the how you collect all information.
yeah, so
Which
about that,
which
I
which
of course.
res- which, which resources do you follow?
So what I'm doing, it's I am using an internal, like, I have a Ruby on Rails app that
Mm,
gathers informations from multiple sources.
wow.
So what I'm doing mostly, I'm following some list of people on various social media
Mhm.
platforms. I have this
With theme? No.
no, 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 no. It's a Ruby on Rails app that I wrote
Theme is
myself.
Ruby
Yeah, I
on
know it.
Rails.
I review it. It's a very good one. Yes, but they I think they stopped integrating with Twitter. So
Yeah, yeah,
I need to integrate with things.
yeah.
And what I'm doing is, like, I use Readwise. Readwise is a service that can follow lists on Twitter. I
Mm,
use Raindrop as a bookmarking service that has its own API, where I put things that I see myself in other stuff, and then I
mhm.
query uh, some APIs. But now it's getting more harder and harder with them. Like Twitter, I pay to access for their own API. I pay all these other bookmarking services.
Wow.
Reddit is getting, I don't know, it cut me multiple times the API access, and it's not. I'm not sure now. I'm following manually. I stopped developing an integration with it, but because if you remember, they were thinking to put a paid plan for their API, so it's getting a bit harder to automate. But still, I'm trying with this application. What I'm doing is I'm formatting the thing that you see there. So I curate everything that I want to put in the newsletter, and then this
Yeah.
Ruby on Rails app is getting information and correctly putting the citation, who did it, and the
Wow.
things like this, right?
You
I
made it automatic.
80%, maybe
Yeah.
70%. I don't know. What is not doing automatic is screenshots, because
Yeah.
a couple of things. Most of these services, like, let's take Twitter. I don't want to say criticize or not, but it's very hard to like the it's very hard to know which element you should do a screenshot with, because you can automate the
Ah, yeah.
screenshot, right? But the classes are scrambled, generated in some way, and there are a lot
Yes.
of changes, so you cannot say this is the div with this something, right?
Yeah.
And I for me, another important thing is the quality of the images. I want them to look good, because the newsletter, it's about those images, right? So if those are
Mhm.
not looking good, that's not good. And also that's a thing. So this the what I'm doing is that this application that I wrote, it's showing me each post that I want to put. I click on something, view on Twitter, view on Mastodon, view on LinkedIn, that opens only that thing. I quickly screenshot it with Snapper. I have, this is a great tool that is doing very quickly that, and I put it on the page. So yeah, so but still it is taking me, I don't know, 5 6 hours per every weekend at
Oh,
minimum.
really? Wow.
Yeah,
Is something like one day for doing a normal
yeah, yeah,
newsletter?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is the, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I will. I'm now the newsletter has some kind. There are some paid subscribers to it, like a
Mhm.
sponsorship,
Yeah, I see.
and some people that decided to pay more, and I call them founding members. I don't
Yeah.
offer them anything back then, saying, okay, if I put an ad inside it, you don't receive the ad. So I am truly grateful for all of them, even a monthly subscriber or the ones that are paying early and so on. Um, and I'm sometimes, there are some few companies that decided to also place an ad on it, that I accepted.
Mhm.
But I don't want to put anything, because for me it's very important that this newsletter, it's about the community.
Yeah.
Um, and also I don't have big like I have, I think now I'm over 4,400 subscribers, but for some companies this is not big enough, in a way, and that's fine, that's fine. So I there are slowly some revenues, but I still don't cover all the APIs or things that I pay
Ah,
for this.
really?
Yeah, yeah, out of this, yes. Like for example, Twitter, I pay $100 per month for their API.
Wow. Wow. It's
Uh,
it's expensive,
so
but
so
it's I think it's
yes.
worth. It's
I
worth
mean,
because it's
I need to, like, to properly put, this is the post that you click on it and opens, right? Mastodon is
yeah.
free, and I'm very grateful for that, the API, so I can query
Mhm.
it for free, and so on. But yeah, yeah. So, and also the other services. I'm not. That's good. It's a choice, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, what I'm trying to do this year, I will try to increase a bit the revenue from ads, if I can, if I can support other Ruby. Also, one thing is that I'm trying to put ads about something that is either built with Ruby or for Ruby developers, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be in that area.
The middle. Yeah.
um, and I will try to see if I can find an assistant, code content editor, or someone that I don't have too much money to offer, but offer a small amount, so each edition at least can help me with the, so I the curation remains on my side, but once I know what to put, right,
Hmm.
it's a matter of effort to put it in the page, that I
Yeah.
hope to delegate. And I plan in the next weeks to try to do some calculations about how much can I put there, how much investment more can I put, let's say, or if something remains, or how much ads do I need, so that I pay a bit, and hopefully maybe find a junior or someone that it's like maybe a junior Ruby developer or something that can see this as a side gig, right? So it will just be something per edition, but will help me take up, or at least some few hours, because I have more ideas that I want to implement, right? So
Yeah, I see. I see. Because you already answered my question. I was going to ask what are your plans about in the future for about
See, yeah,
newsletter?
my
But you
dream
said
about,
it. You said
yeah,
it.
just to put it, from last year I started thinking I would like to make this newsletter sustainable. What does it mean is like medium term, and I cannot say what medium term means in years or months, but
Mm,
medium term, I would like to make to have a stream of revenue that comes into the newsletter that allows me to pay someone to make it in a way, and then I maybe I only curate, or maybe just bookmark some stuff, right? So everything should be there. Now I will start just with someone that will do the screenshot and put it in the page, but hopefully I can pay someone. And it's not only about paying. It's like, when you pay very little, let's say, that I can afford, right? Then that person will have to do more things in their lives for their own life they are learning. But if I could pay a more normal rate,
Hmm.
right? Then maybe ShortRuby newsletter could be at least a part time of someone that someone could considering to do it for a longer
Yeah.
period. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I can match a bit of a normal fee, because now I cannot. I will try to pay something, but it will be more like a side gig, a token of appreciation, right? But if I can increase somehow some revenues, maybe I can pay someone to at least say, okay, it can help me half. That's maybe a dream, I will call it. I don't know if it will happen, but this is what I want. I want to make it sustainable,
Cool.
and this is a way to make it right, sustainable. But let's see. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Having big ideas is really good. And by the way, in conclusion, I can say I really appreciate with you because I'm using your newsletter. So
thank you.
because yeah, in a community, I think it's not 10 years. I can say we do video and sound podcast about Ruby every week, every Wednesday on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Maybe you saw it because we follow each other on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's in Turkish. So me and my friends are talking about what happened in Ruby in this week. So, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing because I following lots of sources, but short Ruby has been helping me l- last many ways, finding the things and matching the news and understanding the details of the news, and which is very good. Don't give up and go on.
No, no, for
And
sure, for sure. I have
yeah,
plans to go on. Yeah,
we will support you.
thank
Don't
you.
worry. In a way, in some day, but it's a good way because I can understand because as you said, maybe 3 or 2 years ago, you just consumed something, and now you're giving back to community. So which is feeling very good, right? So
Yes, of
and
course.
it's nice. Okay, nice. And your other projects. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so the
Email
other,
email
yeah,
course.
email courses. So email courses, it's email courses. It come from the idea that, okay, how can I bring a bit more revenue into this short Ruby project? Right now, it's a newsletter,
Mhm.
and in
Yeah,
the newsletter, it's like paid subscribers, maybe ads, but somehow that's the space. And I'm also maybe not good in having a big following, that some of the people are converting to paid subscribers, and then I will have to create something specifically for the paid subscribers, and I don't have more time to create something, right? Because a way to
mhm.
monetize a newsletter is to say, this is a free tier, and if you pay, you get an extra. But I already don't have, I have 0 minutes for more, right? Every
Yeah,
week, right? So I was thinking, okay, what can I do? And these email courses, my plan is to be some kind of paid content that piggybacks a bit in on my experience with email newsletters, right? So I gathered a bit of experience about, okay, there are people who like to read some emails, and email can be maybe a way that you learn something, not only I don't know, advertising and promos or tasks, right? Can be a way to learn something. And so my idea was, okay, can I make it so that you people can receive learning things by email? And this is happening in, I mean, it's not an innovative idea, it's like, it's in many places, right? So for me, it's a mix of the two things. One, I have some concepts that I want to put in the Ruby community, that I want to drive them, that I want us to talk about them more. This is the content that can be in many
yeah,
forms. And email courses for me is like, I would like to split them in a way that you every week receive something new, and so it's like, instead of writing a book, I'm writing a series of emails,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It,
Exactly, because
eh,
maybe you know that every literature, every books in world literature is not a. For example, Dostoevsky didn't write his books in one time. He was writing a newsletter, like a
Uh, uh, uh,
newsletter, to
Yeah, yeah.
like a
Now that
newsletter.
you say, I remember that it's true. I did not think specifically about this in a rational way, but my idea was that I don't. For me, when I say writing a book, I see it as a big endeavor, very professional, and I also not sure if I have enough knowledge. If I look at other people to say, okay, Lucian is writing a book, I don't know. There are people more knowledgeable than me, right? But I said to myself, but could I write some more focused emails where I put more time into them, of course. And now, for example, I'm working on this modern Ruby syntax, the one of them. Um, so yeah, that's my plan with it. With,
Yeah, cool. So is it live or not? I
no,
think.
so now it's like a you can just get notified when ready. I'm planning
Mm,
to write 4 big topics. One is modern Ruby, and here I talk about the new syntax or new classes or methods added on the in Ruby since
mhm,
2.7 to 3.3 or and updated to 3.4 at the end of the year. Another
mhm.
one it's leverage large language models for coding on Ruby on Rails. And here I probably will share a series of prompts or my experience with using OpenAI and Claude and some
Yeah,
other and fins to and share this is what works and this is what I think it does not work. This is what's reputable and this is what's not. And then I reviewed a couple of open source projects where I want to extract some patterns, like real patterns from open source web apps built with Ruby on Rails. So how are people are doing production code? um, right? Like
yeah,
code that runs. Fitbin is an example, right? It's code
yeah,
that
yeah.
runs for a long period, and
Mhm.
then it's a subject of an intersection of a background that I have, and I another topic. It's applied test design techniques, and the pitch for this is
Yeah,
the following: we are as a developers, we are teached. Let's say it is presented to us. You should do test driven development. Here is a framework. Write test first. Go. I minimize it a bit. But what I think is missing is talking about how do you choose what to test? How
yeah.
can you make sure that if you have, I don't know, a form with 4 fields and each one of the field can have a
Mhm.
set of possible values, what is the minimum number of tests that you can write to make sure that you covered the case is there, right? And there
Yeah,
are in testing, believe it or not, let's say I'm saying out loud, there are techniques, most of them inspired from graph theory and some of them from set theory that talks about the, for example, minimum number of tests that you can test each combination of two values. This is like a pairwise testing or orthogonal arrays. So you have a series of arrays and these arrays are the values of a form of fields, right? So of
yeah.
course the number of tests to cover all combinations is huge. No one writes that.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but we know from theory that, for example, most bugs are of the intersection of
Test.
um, two arrays, two series of values, right?
Oh.
So then you can minimize that saying, can I test each combination of two values even if there are 4 fields? I want 2 by 2. This is an
Mm.
example. There are multiple techniques
Yeah.
like this. So that's not specifically about Ruby, but I plan to show it in how to write tests in Ruby on Rails about that. So how do you approach model and
Yeah.
controllers and systems and integration about this? How do you think about this? So this is not about how to write good RSpec or mini test Ruby code, right?
Yeah, it's
So
about the
I will,
concept.
yeah, it's about the test design. Like, what do you
Yeah.
choose to test
Yeah.
specifically?
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably it's a good idea. Yeah, maybe we can talk about a bit the technical stack of the your email
yeah,
course project, because you already wrote a blog post about it. But I check it and I realized that, okay, obviously you're using Ruby and on Rails, and
yeah.
but you choose the SQLite instead of Postgres? Why?
Yeah, so here just read Stefan, like you find him by Fractaled Mind. I hope I'm
Okay.
pronouncing that well. He's a very big how to say promoter of this, and he's not the only one um, promoting this.
So,
Um,
uh-huh.
Sorry, there's also another like old Mo, the Ali, that also it's doing a lot of great work here, and also other people. I don't want to start saying names because my fear is that I forget to say someone that is really doing a great work, right? So a lot of people doing a lot of stuff here. Also, Rails is it's adding features that allows to work with SQLite, like
Yeah,
solid queue and solid cache and some other
solid
stuff, right?
cache. Hmm.
And accepting PRs about that. Um, and the main thing for me for this, it's actually the thinking about what kind of project do I want to create, right? And for me, I want to create a project that I want to maintain myself, one person with little time. So there are constraints out of this. One is I want to minimize the sysops work. And for example, using SQLite, that means everything runs on a single server. The database is a file that I can move around with copy paste,
Ah, wow.
right?
I
It's like
see. Yeah.
SQL, you take it from here or there. There are already Lightstream allows you, for example, to copy this file to an S3 bucket, or I'm copying to Cloudflare R2. So you have automatically backup. And how do you restore a backup? You take the file and put it back there, right? So it's like um,
It's easy.
of course, for me here, this is a project where I don't expect high concurrency, but I think also like it's a project that can grow very big probably, but it does not need to be I don't know, Facebook or Google, right? It will probably never be that. So I chose how I want to say. I think that that choice is more about making me happy and making sure
Hmm.
I do progress and making sure I'm focused on business logic and things that I want to create instead of doing work to maintain. I'm not saying that MySQL and Postgres and the others are hard to use. Actually, in Rails, you can use them just as quick as possible. But when you go
Yeah,
to production, you have to either install them yourselves and then maintain a server with that, or put it on the same server. But it's a process. It's a background daemon that runs, right. You need to configure it. You need to upgrade it, or you pay some kind of big money to delegate to a managed database, right?
yes, but yeah, it's interesting choice because I ask and because I never use SQLite in production before. Maybe you're right. It can be, but I already have some. I have some concern about using SQLite in production because yeah, maybe in you for your project it's a small project you can use SQLite, but for the big projects it's not ready for now. I don't know, but maybe in the future it can be. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So I hope I'm not mispronouncing the name, but I recommend you, if you want to invite Steven Marheim.
Mhm.
I can share
Yeah.
his. He can convince you that SQLite is ready for production. I'm convinced, but I'm also not.
Okay.
I how to say I don't want to misrepresent some of the arguments about that, right?
I see.
It's
I
but
see.
but for me, I think seeing it's also in a way riding a wave, right? That starts forming about these self-contained applications. I'm not sure if that wave will grow big or not, but
Mhm.
we have from 37 signals or Basecamp the ones that you can install it on your own server, right? We
Yeah.
have this work that you see in PRs of Rails for supporting SQL, right? So it's like if I mean if the arguments about SQL Rise are not convincing you, seeing what the PRs that are accepted and the work that is done by Rails should at least say, okay, maybe if these guys are choosing it and they're using it
Yeah.
there, could be ready, right? I'm that's saying
Yeah, I
that
see.
could
I
be.
see. You influenced from someone. I think.
No, no, yeah, and also it's because I don't have, and I think without, this is an old saying that we keep saying, but I think it's true. Maybe 95% of the projects that we have and start don't need that big high, I don't know, availability, concurrency, or stuff that maybe you are concerned with, right? Could be that they are, but could be that not. I'm not saying there are not projects like this, but I'm saying that if you look at if you go at Steven blog, he shared a lot of details about the statistics, and
Developer,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
see that it SQL write can stand a lot of traffic. That if you make the calculation, actually that's pretty good traffic um, with it, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah. I
remember the
can.
numbers, but he shared some numbers. He did some
Mhm.
tests, and
Yeah, I can imagine
uh,
because as you said, we already do a podcast about Ruby, and we
yeah.
already talked this kind of things. In I'm just joking,
Okay. Sorry.
and
Yeah.
I'm just
No, I don't.
I'm just the play acting like evil and talking
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
good. That's very good. But I just I'm not that knowledgeable as him, so I
No
prefer
problem.
to say, okay, he will convince you, right? It's like
No problem. And another thing's Flex, because yeah, and I checked the
yes,
contributors. Flex, yeah, is a Daniel. You know,
yeah.
Daniel is it was Daniel? Yeah, yeah,
No, no,
Joel,
no, Daniel. Yeah,
Joel, yeah, Joel,
yeah.
Joel Depper,
Yes,
yeah, Joel Depper. They
Joel
start
Draper.
this project, and I checked the contributors, and I have one commit, and you have one commit as well in Flex, but I never used it in a Rails project. Did you have you any experience about it? And
I
what
like
are
it a
you
lot. That's my
really?
thing. Yeah,
Ah,
but now,
cool.
like I like it a lot in the sense that okay, my background. I will try to explain a bit first from my background and then what I like about it. For me, it matches a lot how I think about UI, but could be because I worked a lot as a backend developer and doing some UI, like doing front end work only when needed. But my background, I worked a lot of years as a backend developer.
Yeah.
um, so when I think about UI, I like the idea that I can compose it from smaller components that are I can control each one of them, right? Like this is a button here. I did it, it works, right?
Hmm.
But it's not only about how it looks. I like that Plex it's Ruby code, so then I can still apply my knowledge about OP to building
Yeah.
the UI, right?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so I can build in like yeah, I can do composition, I can do inheritance if I want.
Hmm.
I can do memoization, whatever. Like my knowledge of Ruby and OP goes to build those things. Um, so this is what I like about Flex and why it matches the way I see the UI.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this is fit for every project and or every
Yeah.
person. It might be that
Mhm.
some other people are having different needs, or I don't know,
Yeah.
some
It
other
should be a
things are.
problem if you have a front end developer there, and maybe he or she can't
Yeah,
use.
if you have someone that does not know Ruby or knows very little, but they are very
Mhm.
good at HTML, CSS, and in general front end JavaScript, right? It's very
Mhm.
easy for them to change an RB file and harder to change the maybe a Plex file, like a
Yeah.
Ruby file, right?
And by the way, we said JavaScript. So, and I saw in the front end you decided to use Hotwire. What's your
Yes,
opinion about it?
I also
So
like
it's
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's pretty good. I know, and I have a bit experience about it. But
yeah,
I just want to ask you: is because Hotwire a Turbo 8 is on the way, or
yeah.
it's already released? I don't know. So, and what's your feelings
So again,
about?
I think about this from my perspective as a backend developer, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
again I see the like turbo frames for me, or in the update with streams, right? I see it as a nice way to change these Lego pieces how I see the UI, right?
Yeah.
And say, okay, now I want to render a page, right? Let's
Hmm.
say. So I can pick and choose what's rendered the first run and what will come with
Later.
loading via turboframe.
Yeah.
And when I click a button, I can say, go and change this thing here, right?
Yeah.
And I like this decomposition of the things, of
Hmm.
the UI. I don't have too much experience with reactivity in general, or and also when I'm thinking about the interfaces for my side projects, Hotwire and the way I'm saying about Plex matches how I visualize their implementation. Right, this is how I see it when I'm thinking about it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I think I like a lot the idea that a lot of complexity is hidden in some simple concepts, because probably the same things you can do them, I don't know, in multiple ways, right? But I
Hmm.
like and maybe it's not the end of it, right? It's just the start of the hot wire being in a way for me more railsy, right? It's
Yeah.
more building the UI, but also making it, how to say, reactive, interactive, and updating
Yeah.
stuff from the backend there, right? But still remain in the same convention over configuration and in the same
Yeah.
Rails way. That's what I like, and maybe it has some edges now that people are still working, but I see it as a good sign because okay, we are in the beginning of this, right? So this thing will keep improve.
Hmm.
This is what I see, and truly looking back at other solutions that Rails was forced in a way to adopt, maybe because the browsers were not ready for it, or the JavaScript was not ready, or the styles, or whatever, right? So it was not ready, so it needed to adopt other things. I think this one is the closest one to how I think about having a good UI, but still having one single framework.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing, one single framework, and we can do everything on the front and the back end at
Yeah,
the same time. So as you said, and we can do as a backend developer, we can work in the front end.
that's for
So
me
yeah,
the
yeah, I
the
can
thing. Yeah,
understand because you said the same thing for the flags. So yeah,
yeah.
and the very last question is coming. So because my question is already over, but
Please.
just I have one question at the end of the podcast. And what are you suggesting for the developers who are really willing to learn Ruby and on Rails?
Yeah, that's a very big question. Do we have another hour to talk about it? No,
Okay, maybe
no, 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 no.
because I'm
I'm
asking you because you have a
yeah,
you maintaining a website called Ruby and on Rails dot in
yes, yes.
Ruby and Rails info, and there are lots of resources about Ruby and Rails over there. Because I asked this question, so maybe you can share some books or some good blog post or something like this, or you don't have to, by the way.
No, I mean there are a lot of. I don't want to recommend one single thing. There are a lot of things. A lot of blog posts and courses and books available for this. But my recommendation, it's depending on the person who is learning. My idea
Yeah.
is that here is the way I think about this. I suggest people to first learn Ruby. I know it's a bit not
Nice.
how other sources recommend this.
Mhm.
I suggest people to learn Ruby. Just read the syntax on the main website or whatever, a book about it. If people know already programming in other languages, right? I'm not talking here about learning programming um, while never learn how to program, because there are multiple things to learn there, not only Ruby, right? But let's say there is someone who is coding in other languages, has a bit of background in programming and want to pick up Ruby. I suggest learning the Ruby first, and how to do it is like learn a bit the syntax. The syntax is not that difficult in a way at the surface. It has a big surface, but the actual syntax and keywords of Ruby and the rules are not that big. It's a
Yeah.
huge standard library, but the rules are not that big. And then usually what I suggest to people with whom I'm working sometimes to learn Ruby is like just do some projects that are pure Ruby, no framework. You open
Yeah.
a single file and you try to, I don't know, do something that counts calories or whatever it calculates aspect ratio or whatever it's something that it's around
Yeah.
your need, and do it
Yeah.
as a CLI, like a command line
Yeah.
interface with Ruby.
Yeah.
And then out from this, just do the first run, which might be procedural code or whatever, like a normal thing, right? and then and then go into learning OP, Ruby OP, and then standard library more, a bit more,
Mhm.
by trying to make your project more flexible and more extendable, right? When you're trying to do it more extendable, you suddenly need code design, right? So
Yeah.
you go into code design. And then I suggest to say, okay, did you implement this as a CLI? Now try to make it on the web,
Ah, yes.
right?
Yes.
So
It's
so
very
now
common here.
now you go to Rails.
Mhm.
So let's say if you do something that takes, I don't know, a recipe from a file and tries to calculate calories or something, right? You have a file with a recipe and ingredients and you want to calculate calories, I don't know, something. So let's say something like this, right? You can make it CLI. You read the file, you output something. It's not very fancy, but you have the business logic, you learn a bit of OP, and now you say, okay, I have this business logic and now I want to learn Rails, right? So okay, you
Yeah.
go and do a, no, a short Rails only thing just to learn the things, but now just try to create that with Rails. That's the how I see the learning, because it helps learn a lot. When then if you do this, then Rails does not appear that magic anymore,
Yeah. It's
right?
not magic.
You saw, when you are saying missing parentheses, and that's a DSL, and things like this, right? And this is how inheritance, and this is how it loads stuff, and so on. And that's my
Yeah, I'm agree with you here because I believe that developing a very simple project is the best way to learning a new language or framework. I think. Yeah, you can read a book or you can watch a video or Udemy course, but if you want to learn something about a think you will do a real not real project, a project which is running on production or in your local machine. Anyway, thank you for the suggestion, Lucian.
I thank you too.
My questions are over. Do you have anything to add?
No, I want to thank you very much for inviting me and providing me the opportunity to talk about all these things that I'm very passionate about, and I want to talk about them. Yes,
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much. It was good having you in my podcast, and I hope we will meet in person in a
I hope
in a
to.
in a I don't know, in Romania or another Europe country. I don't know,
Sure.
but yeah. Okay, if you listen to us at here and we are finish this podcast, and maybe next time we can see you, and bye bye.
Bye.